Right, let's get this party started. 2025. 2026. Crap, I skipped a year. This is the kind of year it's going to be. American. Action. Alright, that cigar lighting took a little longer than I would have likened it to. But nonetheless, here we are. What's up, all? Welcome. It is Panic Attack. I think I'm going to do glasses off. I thought with this new lighting setup I had, I could do glasses on, but plus I need bifocals this year badly. And honestly, I see up close better without the glasses. So that is another thing that we will be working on cheer in 2026. If I got the years right, I think I got the years right. Let me delete some of these old videos here in the archives. Yeah, permanently delete. Well, hope this is the right. Hope I didn't delete this recording as I'm recording it. I don't know if I can even do that, but anyways. So what's up, all? It's Panic Attack. I am Big John. I just noticed, god damn. Yeah, I'm glad I ordered that other camera. Cigar smoking and pop drinking is not good for your teeth. However, I do notice here looking at it, and I've been losing some weight. So anyways, we're panic attacking. Doc and I have been doing a couple collaborations already this year. One of them is up. It's a Politico talk for everything from decapitating the figure, well, not figuratively, literally, decapitation strikes to take out the Iranian military. We touch on some Middle Eastern values, the morality behind their morality, and we get into good old American gambling and the problem with young American males, all in a 30-minute span, as only Doc and I can do. But I'm doing a 2025 recap right now, like a year in review of the wrestling of 2025. I saw some different year-end things, and so I used ChatGPT to scan the internet wrestling pundits and see who collectively was thought of to be the best and worst of 2025. I scanned for Dave Meltzer's opinions, Jim Cornette, the man. What can I say? Jim Cornette, Wrestling Observer, which is Dave Meltzer, but Cultaholic Wrestling and What Culture Wrestling, and other various wrestling sites and pundits. So those were the instructions I put into ChatGPT, and these were the results. We'll go through the best of 2025, and then we'll get into what the internet and people thought were the worst, and I'll offer my op-eds along the way. By the way, I'm working on, yeah, I already said that. So best wrestler, rated number 1 was Will Ospreay. And there are others here that could be mentioned. You would think the biggest draw in wrestling would be considered the best, and best is objective in wrestling, as it is in a lot of things. Who is the best baseball player of all time? Was it Babe Ruth because he hit the most home runs? Well, Barry Bonds hit more home runs and was a better ball player in the field. There are guys now that are getting up there in the home run total, hitting 50 home runs a season. They're not as juiced on steroids as Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, and allegedly Barry Bonds. But who is the best? It's hard to say. Greatest of all time. Michael Jordan says it's not fair to compare people across different eras, that you cannot do that. You can't compare Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain's to Michael Jordan's and Larry Bird's and LeBron James, or even Kobe's, because the eras and the rules in the game were different. But anyways, Will Ospreay was the consensus best wrestler of 2025 according to fan polls and wrestling critics. The reasons cited were he is excellent in big matches. He was in multiple matches that were contenders for the match of the year. He is athletic. He tells an emotional storyline, and he elevated his opponents. And for me in wrestling, that elevated opponents is the one of the most important things. It's great to have somebody who has a good build up, has a good story, and then you just blow them off and they go back to the mid card or the bottom of the card. But if you can elevate someone even though they lose the match, perhaps, or you can put somebody over, that's an even better trait because you're making new stars. For example, right now Will Ospreay is off injured, so all those guys that he wrestled, that he brought up, he lifted up with him, they're now the stars carrying the company. Not necessarily, but you get my drift. And if you're observant, you'll notice that my nasal inhaler is no longer in the background. Other wrestlers that were mentioned as the best of the year: Daniel Bryanson, or Bryan Danielson. Danielson, Bryanson. Bryanson, Danielson. Bryan Danielson, one of my faves since 2002-ish. 2025 was like the winding down though of his career. Gunther, who I wish was still called Walter, he had some tremendous matches. Has a great drop kick. He's a lot more athletic than what he's given credit for. Kazuka Okada, Zack Sabre of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Swerve Strickland and Ilya Dragunov, Konosuke, that's it, Konosuke I'm going to say Takeshita, Kensuke Takeshita. God damn it, I can't say it right, so I'm just going to say it wrong. And Bandito rounded out the internet's top wrestlers of 2025. But notably, though, Cody Rhodes was not on there as one of the best wrestlers, even though he probably drew more money and more crowds. That's pretty interesting. But it's going by internet buzz. The best team of 2025, according to wrestling pundits, was Bullet Club War Dogs of New Japan Pro Wrestling. They reinvigorated the Bullet Club brand. They were aggressive. They had a cohesive identity with a clear hierarchy, and they felt dangerous. Kind of makes you think of like the initial NWO when it was just Hogan, Hall, and Nash. And then eventually they added the Giant as kind of a reinforcer. If you go back further in your wrestling histories, you get the you think of the Four Horsemen, the Four Horsemen. So best of 2025 so far. Will Ospreay is the best wrestler of the consensus of the internet. I know Jim Cornette would vehemently disagree with that one, but Dave Meltzer and the rest of the wrestling pundits see it that way. So Bullet Club War Dogs are the best team or faction, I might call it. I'm looking at my teeth in the camera. I am definitely in for false teeth in the near future, or dental implants. FTR, the Bloodline, United Empire of New Japan / AEW, the House of Black, and then a traditional tag team, the Motor City Machine Guns, were the other top teams talked about on the internet in 2025. FTR, they're, probably them and the Motor City Machine Guns are the two best wrestling tag teams right now. You can put the Usos up there. The Bloodline had a compelling storyline for the last few years, but we'll see how 2026 pans out. This new new faction that Solo has going, to me, isn't that good. Like Jacob Fatu would have been a better leader for that faction. Solo is someone who WWE has put big hopes and aspirations on. So we'll see how it goes that. The best baby face of the year. Okay, here you go. Cody Rhodes. I think we can all agree with that. He was definitely the top face in wrestling in 2025. Uh, he had authentic crowd reactions. He had clear morals. He had good promos and made big matches feel credible. So you really thought you were watching a championship match with something on the line when you were at one of the big pay-per-views and Cody was on the card. Now, you look at this and he's a back-to-back Royal Rumble winner. Might be the first 3-time in a row Royal Rumble winner. I don't know. There's a few directions I'd like to see them go in 2025 with that. But we'll see what WWE and the creative minds they have in mind for us. Also, going in here in 2025, last year, other top baby faces were Bryan Danielson, who had his retirement match in 2025, and Will Ospreay, the best wrestler of the year according to the internet gurus. The best heel of 2025, there was no doubt about that. And going into 2026, I think he's obviously the same way. Best heel is Gunther. Don't call him Walter. He's a believable menace. He's old school. I mean, the guy has brought the sleeper hold back as a finishing maneuver. Doesn't get any more old school and badass than that. He has good old school psychology. His matches are paced, rather slow, but it makes him all the better of a heel because he's stalking his opponents. In an era of wrestling where everything is go, 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 fast, 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 flippy moves, it's nice to have somebody that can, throw together, an arm bar, an arm drag takedown, arm bar, headlock, do that basic crossbody off the top rope, pulls a great drop kick out of nowhere, things like that. He gets a lot of heat without taking shortcuts. It's easy to cheat and get heat. It's easy to pull the other wrestler's tights or the hair or, use the foreign object. But Gunther gets heat without using cheap moves or cheating. And that's real heat. Let's see, what else did they say about him? He made his matches feel dangerous and consequential, yet his dominance over his opponents elevated his opponents. And I think everyone, internet and myself, Corny, and Dave Meltzer could all agree to that. Other notable heels: Switchblade Jay White, Swerve Strickland, Zack Sabre, and Roman Reigns. The best champion of 2025? This one I disagree with the internet on, but their number one best champion, most talked about, was Hangman Adam Page. I know Jim Cornette would disagree with this, but according to the internet pundits, Hangman Page had strong storytelling. He had credible title defenses and consistent crowd investment. And I can see that. His storylines were, consistent. But again, I guess anything is better than Plumber Moxley as far as as far goes as a world champion, the other most talked about, most well thought of champion in wrestling was Gunther. He's the most credible champion. I feel he's far more credible of a champion than Adam Page. Adam Page, props for keeping the cowboy in wrestling gimmick alive. More on that later. But Gunther's quality, his match quality, can't argue that. Cannot argue that Gunther does not have great matches. And his title reign was strong. He was a believable champion. Also thrown in that mix of most talked about, most liked champions of the internet was Kenny Omega. And I like Kenny's because he's a modern wrestler. Some of his move sets and sequences, we'll kind of talk about this later when we get to the worst of wrestling. It's not believable. Just not believable. You know, when you see these guys flipping and going back and forth, and I'm, hitting you in the face, and then you're hitting me in the face, and I'm doing a Pele kick to your head, and you do the Pele kick to my head, and they're just boom, boom, boom. You're like, damn, that's impressive. But then you're like, damn, nobody got hurt by that sequence? I mean, what, one kick to the head knocked Ronda Rousey out cold. But, Kenny Omega and his opponents can flip around 5 times fast, kick each other, a combined 10 times, and nobody gets a headache. IDK, you tell me. But that's, how wrestling goes. We're getting snow. Everybody's texting and talking. Is it snowing where you're at? Did you see the snow? No, I've lived in Ohio my whole life and I've never seen snow. Alright. Anyways, back to the podcast and video. Best match of the year. Alright. This one I can agree to. Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. It was called near perfect athletically and psychologically. That's a thing that a lot of people don't get, a lot of wrestlers don't have down pat these days, is the psychology of the match and the storyline and the build-up. And that is something that Ospreay and Danielson are tremendous at. And I do believe that this was Bryan Danielson's retirement match too. There was a clear escalation in selling and payoff. So as the match went on, they sold the injuries, pain, such and such, more and more. Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov is up there with the best matches according to the internet pundits. It was brutal and believable, they said, and yes, that it was. Go watch it. Kazuchika Okada and Zack Sabre. Can't say that I saw that one. Swerve Strickland versus Adam Page. Ospreay versus Omega. Very good match, but it didn't. Omega and Ospreay didn't really do anything for me. All but one of the match of the year, or at least best match, according to the internet, all of them are outside of WWE, if you noticed that. Best segment of the year, the Cody versus Roman face-to-face bloodline promo. They said it had clear stakes, legacy versus legacy, family versus destiny. It had a lot of crowd pops, and the crowd was invested in it. There was escalation in the heat without violence in that feud, or that segment, excuse me. The feud of the year, Cody versus Roman, the best feud. Yeah, I definitely would go with that. The Bloodline saga, the long-term storytelling, and the payoff of that, the clear emotional stakes. It had elite promos, character consistency, main event level of each chapter felt important. Worked for casual fans and hardcore audiences. So if you only watch, like, let's say, Friday nights or Monday nights, or maybe you skip a month or two of wrestling and turn it back on, you would still be able to follow this storyline. The best catchphrase, finish the story, Cody Rhodes catchphrase. It had narrative weight, it had emotional weight, it had versatility, it had longevity without fatigue. You didn't get sick of hearing it. And this was praised by Meltzer and Cornette. So if those two can agree to something, then damn it, it must have been good. The best newcomer. This isn't. To me, this is like somebody who's just breaking in. You say newcomer, but according to the internet pundits, by the scan of ChatGPT, Will Ospreay was the best newcomer. And I can understand that, even though he'd been wrestling overseas for a while, he was new to American audiences for the most part. He had an immediate impact, that's for certain. He had match quality, or all of his matches were high quality. He had connection with the crowd. He has versatility and consistency. He has, consistently good matches. He can wrestle with anybody and make anybody look good, pretty much. Other ones. Now, here's my dude, going forward. Actually, both these guys, they're both WWE guys. But Oba Femi, this is what I would call a newcomer. He came up into NXT from out of nowhere, got on a streak, became the champion. This is a newcomer to wrestling. And then Braun Breaker, who broke through onto the main roster this year and had some great matches. The best microphone skills. The internet said, hands down by far, Paul Heyman. I also put MJF up in there too. He was a close second according to the internet. And to me, he was the only person that touches Heyman. He doesn't even touch Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is so good at getting a story over on the microphone that it's really untouchable, but you get the point there. They both had the best storylines as far as the verbiage on the microphone goes, and the best audience reactions. I'd say since the 90s, Heyman has probably been one of the best people on the mic. Whether he was, Paul E. Dangerously, the manager in WCW, NWA, or the owner of ECW. So the best non-wrestler was Paul Heyman. I think that's a no-brainer there. He's regarded as the best talker. Yeah, the internet just said in the last category he was the best one on the microphone. And like I said, he probably has been since the 90s. He helps get talent over, backstage, and on camera. He's great at building a storyline, a character, helping people develop their characters. As far as backstage goes, on the camera, he is tremendous at building characters. When he did that thing in the ring where he delivered the low blows to CM Punk and Roman Reigns, and then walked out with Seth Rollins. Tremendous. Most overrated, somebody everybody loves to hate, Logan Paul. He topped the overrated discussions. His position is greater than his experience. He's good on the mic, but storytelling is shallow, they said. He has impressive spots, but limited match variety. And in 2025, he was a part-timer. Now he's becoming more of a fixture in 2026. I think he's good on the microphone. And the things he can do in the ring and the heat he has, it justifies him being where he is in WWE right now. But he's going to have to earn a little bit more to get the respect of the fans and the pundits. The most overrated wrestler, or pardon me, no, this is most underrated, excuse me. Konosuke Takeshita, or Konosuke Takeshita. However you want to say that. I'm going to have to buzz through this one because I don't have to try to say his name again. World-class wrestling matches, in-ring ability, international credibility, that's tremendous. Ring psychology, very good. Ring psychology, I'll say. Beyond his years, he's ring savvy in the storytelling of each individual match beyond his experience. And he's trusted to carry big matches. Also on the most underrated, Chad Gable. I would definitely agree with that. Josh Alexander. And then Eddie Kingston. I like Kingston. I like his story, like his real life, his journey through the indies and up to, a high spot in all elite wrestling. But I don't think I would call him underrated. He's definitely an underdog, but I think he's rated and positioned just where he should be in the company. The best move of the year was Will Ospreay's Hidden Blade. That was what the internet pundits called the move of the year. It looks dangerous. It can end a match at any time. It looks perfect on camera, and it works for every match. It's kind of like the Stone Cold Stunner. When everybody was walking around pretending to stun their friends, or the Diamond Cutter, kind of the same thing. The RKO, Randy Orton's finishing move. They're all things that can end a match from out of nowhere, and can just be stunned. So yeah, that's a good finishing maneuver. Let's see what other moves. Gunther's chop. Ooh, he's got a good chop. You know, he'll chop somebody's chest raw. Big. I gotta read like, hang on. Big, heavy-handed Englishman. That Walter. You know, you believe those big hands that hurt you. And still lighting up for those of you listening on Spotify. Yeah, he lays those big, heavy hand chops in there. Bryan Danielson's running knee. I thought that was just the coolest thing when I saw it in 2002, 2003. And it's still a very effective move to get the crowd reaction. Looks good on camera. Kensuke Takashita, the Blue Thunder Bomb. That's a cool move too. The best gimmick, hands down, by far, WWE. How did you drop the ball with this woman? Timeless Toni Storm. Now, let's see what the internet said about the timeless Stony Torm. Timeless Toni Storm. Timeless Toni Storm. The internet was saying it's hands down the best. Total character commitment, elite promos, storytelling, the ego, the satire, the insecurities, the delusion, blended seamlessly, according to the wrestling pundits. Now, we would have never seen this character in WWE. To me, she reminds me of Goldust, but so much better. Now, Toni Storm, she gets away with some swearing, you know, the chin up, tits out stuff, the sexual innuendos that she throws into the promos, bringing up Wendy Richter. That's all tremendous. And the commitment to that character. And it's really, you know, it goes back to what wrestling was, which is theater at the most basic. Yes, it's over the top. Yes, it's tacky. It's cheesy. It's, you know, why would somebody act this way? But it's entertaining as hell. And that's what wrestling is meant to be. And this woman can work a tremendous match. Phenomenal in-ring wrestler. Her ability to tell a story, even if it's not this super over-the-top character. You know, Vince, you just totally screwed up on this one. Charlotte bullied her backstage, you know, and really, you know, I don't want to get off on a Charlotte Ashley Fleer rant, but, you know, Toni just packed her shit and left a house show one day and said, I quit. Said, I'm paying for my own plane to get home. I'm gone. You know, you can fire me or I'll just sit at home and not wrestle anymore. And she's one of the things that AEW, in my opinion, has gotten right. So other notable gimmicks of the year were the Roman Reigns tribal chief, Christian Cage as Patriarch Christian. I really didn't get this faction that he was bringing, to be totally honest with you. This group or faction he has going in AEW, I just didn't get it, but some people did. So God bless them. Rhea Ripley as the dominant anti-hero, 27, maybe 28 this year, but one of the great women wrestlers of all time already. Tremendous on the microphone now that they've stopped with the memorized promos and giving her cue cards to read off of. Just phenomenal all the way around, and tremendous in-ring storyteller. Try not to get too irritated when I speak of Rhea Ripley, because as I'm saying all those things, I'm thinking of Vince Russo's stupid, asinine remark when she was caught reading off of cue cards. How can you get this far into rest? Oh, let me talk like Vince Russo. Bro, how bro can you get this far in the wrestling business without being able to do a promo. Learn to speak English, you dumb. And learn something about the wrestling business. Some of the best wrestlers ever were not good promo men or women. That's why they had managers. Now Rhea, she was being forced to read off of cue cards because they wanted her promos to be 100% scripted. Once they got away from that bullshit, tremendous promo. Best news story, according to the wrestling pundits and myself, I agree with this. Vince McMahon's exit from WWE. It was a historic finality, which was not a retirement angle, according to the pundits, and that's a great way of putting it. It was a historic, clear-cut the end to his wrestling career that was not a retirement angle. It put WWE fully under TKO/Endeavor corporate governance. It was a cultural reckoning for decades of sexual abuse allegations, and it forced systemic change in the culture of the wrestling business. Notable changes in WWE booking, industry-wide impact on power, accountability, and culture in wrestling. Vince McMahon leaving the WWE had a huge impact on the way that wrestlers, the men who run the wrestling business, are held accountable. And that was decades in the reckoning. The culture of wrestling, which was kind of a good old boys thing where, hey, you guys can do what you want, say what you want, do who you like, do what you like, to who you like. That stuff all has to go by the wayside in wrestling. Not being a beta or a pussy. I'm just being honest. If the women can wrestle as good as the men, and they can, they deserve to be as respected backstage and side stage and front stage as the men. So I'm reading Paige's book right now, and I just got through the part about the sex video leakage. And so as I'm sitting here talking and thinking about the culture of wrestling and the things that Vince did with women, did to women, and the whole speaking out, hashtag speaking out thing that went on a few years ago. I sit there and I think about Paige and and different women that had to go through things. That's a whole nother wrestling video. Best news stories of the year. Maybe you could say biggest news stories. I don't know if these were all best, but the WWE Netflix launch, that was big. WWE and ESPN deal. Yeah, it's one of the biggest and best stories. I don't know if it's the best thing to happen in wrestling, but definitely one of the best stories. And Bryan Danielson's health and career. Looks like he's retiring because of the concussions and the neck problems. Best entrance. Saya Kamitami, All-Star Grand Queendom. Fans on Reddit called it the defining entrance of 2025. It had atmosphere, dramatic lighting, choreography, and an aura that made it seem like a boss moment. Okay, I actually need to Google that or YouTube that and watch it. So Saya Kamitami, All-Star Grand Queendom entrance. Look that up, or say it 5 times fast, see how it goes for you. CM Punk's WrestleMania 41 entrance was also on the list of notables. And the Mystico AEW Grand Slam Mexico entrance. Best promotion or company. This is where things start getting interesting. Because you'll see the divide in the wrestling community. And the way I did this by having ChatGPT scan all the wrestling news sites and wrestling pundit podcasts. There are those that are all a tickle, all a Twitter, all in love with all elite wrestling. It's cited by wrestling pundits and websites and fan polling as the #1 Fed of 2025. Federation, corporation, promotion, however you want to say it. They won a lot of online awards in 2025 and won a lot of internet fan polls. And I think sometimes it's not always the quality. I can't say that their quality is terrible, but every week it seemed like for a while there was a blood and guts match, a thumbtack match. I hate the stupid thumbtacks. But everything was bleeding, fighting. What's wrestling is supposed to be fighting, but a blood fight weekly on wrestling shows. I like the guys getting cut open. It doesn't make sense to me. Now that I'm an old man. In the 1980s, 90s, 2000, early 2000s, if you got your head rammed into the steel cage, you were busted wide open. You were cut. Now you get hit. You hit your head off the cage 10, 15, 20 times. Barely, don't even break a sweat. Don't have a drop of blood, a scratch, anything. Strange. But anyways, AEW, the #1 promo or promotion or federation, however you jolly to say it, of 2025, according to the wrestling pundits. Obviously, notable mention, WWE would be the second place in the hearts and minds of pundits and fans. CMLL of Mexico also a top promotion. New Japan Pro Wrestling, they've been one of the top wrestling promotions in the world for as long as I've been watching wrestling. And then Stardom, parentheses, Joshi Wrestling in Japan. The best part-time wrestler, John Cena. The big retirement tour. Funny thing, listening to Cena's, you call it his farewell interview? I guess that's what you would call it. He brought up that, he told WWE he could do 200 dates, and they came back to him and said, how about 36? Because he didn't realize they weren't doing hardly as many, if at all, house shows anymore. But yeah, definitely that John Cena's last year gimmick, angle, whatever, definitely one of the top things of 2025. So certainly he would be the best part-timer. Then also the internet was buzzing over The Rock as a part-timer. But did he do any wrestling in 2025? Also Goldberg, best part-timer. The best booker of 2025, Tony Khan. This is according to fan polls, pundits, and Reddit. So again, a polarizing figure in wrestling. You either like the way he books his company or you don't. There's no it was pretty good. Everything's either people really love Tony Khan and All Elite Wrestling or they hate it and him. Others in the top booker, other top bookers of 2025, obviously Paul Triple H Levesque, Rossi Ogawa of Stardom, and Gedo, Gedo, of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Rounded out your top bookers. Best babyface turn. In my opinion, Jacob Fatu, and he was one of the most talked about face turns online after the whole I love you Solo thing and all that, and Solo and company treating him like dirt. Jacob turned babyface. Also in the mention for best face turns, Charlotte Flair. It definitely had the internet buzzing, but it felt like it was forced, and so it flopped at first. Now it's been rehabilitated. At the time, they tried to bring her in as a face. The internet stories were, Charlotte's going to have a world title run after Royal Rumble, excuse me. And it was basically like WWE had anointed her, and the fans rejected it harshly. And so she went from a super baby face and then went ultra heel on Tiffany Stratton. And then after she lost to Tiffany at WrestleMania, she was sitting on the floor outside the ring and applauded Tiffany, because Tiffany was so over right then. And I really think they squandered Tiffany's pop and talent last year, but maybe she'll get back to it this year, and they'll do some good angles with her and storylines. But none of the lesser. You have the bestest babyface turns of 2025, or at least most talked about, was Charlotte Flair. The internet says that Hangman Adam Page's return and face turn was one of the best, and Jon Moxley's shift from the Death Rider's heel to a respectable fan favorite. So interesting there. Let's see here. Best. This is the last of the bests for 2025. Best premium live event or pay-per-view, all in Texas. The All Elite Wrestling, all in Texas. It was the #1 in a lot of fan polls. It had a stadium crowd atmosphere according to the pundits. Multiple match of the year contenders. The pacing and card depth, emotional moments, and payoff storylines made it the best premium live event / pay-per-view of 2025. They gave like an honorable mention. Let's hold on a second. To Stardom All-Star Grand Slam, All-Star Grand Queendom. I see the word grand and All-Star. I'm not actually want to say Grand Slam like baseball. Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom was one of the top pay-per-views of 2025. The CMLL anniversary show. The reason why WrestleMania was not the #1 premium live event of 2025 according to wrestling pundits is because they said that the 2 nights, this is a consensus of the internet now, the 2 nights felt like they dragged on, and the undercard was not as good as All Elite, All In. So, they start talking about cross-promotion events, best cross-promotional / global events. All Elite Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door was one of the most talked about interpromotional, international events of the year. It'll be interesting here in 2026 to see how the cross-promotion international events of WWE and AAA wrestling in Mexico favor within internet pundits coming up here in 2026. I think it's going to be interesting and fun cross-promotion. Something WWE hadn't done a lot of is international cross-promotion events, because Vince felt that they were so big they didn't need to cross-promote with anyone else. But one of the most fun things I remember as a kid was the New Japan and WCW cross-promotion shows you would get like once or twice a year. So we'll see how that goes. You're probably not going to see top tier WWE guys wrestling the top tier AAA guys. You're not going to see like champion versus champion, but you will see some good matches. And the Mexican lucha libre style is phenomenal. The pace, then there are very few. Well, I should say there are very few. Not everybody in WWE can keep up with that pace, but it does bring out the best of Finn Balor's style, Dominic Mysterio, and these guys and women that can do a higher paced, higher flying style. So that was the best wrestling of 2025. I'm going to hop out here take a break and do another whole other video podcast of the worst of 2025. God bless y'all. Pray for one another. Love somebody today and be the reason somebody feels loved. Till next panic attack, God bless you. Bless you and keep you.